So Jim, what do you see as the importance of eldering in contemporary society?
Well, I think eldering is really a possibility. It's a vision. It's a vision that our lives can matter as we get older, that there can be as much possibility at the end of life as there is at the beginning. So I think the importance of eldering really is what is the human value of 70 or 80 million people in North America over the next 10 to 20 years. You know, and whether that value is realized and whether that value is expressed and whether our older population, roughly 1 in 3 of us, is going to make a difference or not, I really think is what's at stake. Eldering is a word. It's a word that could mean sort of like midlife leadership. It can be something that we use to talk about how do we as older people take what we've learned, what we know, and give it to other people in a way that brings out the best in them, what I call wisdom in action. So it can be, as all of us get older, that we simply live into some kind of culturally predefined, stereotypical expectation of getting old. And for most people that means decline. If you ask 1,000 people what do they think about aging, very few people will say I'm looking forward to it. Very few people will say it's a possibility. Most people will be in one way or another afraid of it. And that's a tragedy. It's a tragedy when we can spend a third of our lives in less than a forward-looking way. So for me, eldering is really about the possibility of getting old.
Great. What do you see as your personal contribution as an elder?
Well, it's a good question. Unfortunately, I don't have a good answer because for me, contribution has always been a gift of the receiver. It's not in the intention of the giver. So I have an intention to contribute. But what my contribution is really going to be a function of the people that I work with, that I live with, and that I spend time with over the next 20 to 30 years. For me, contribution is something that we all want to do, but most of us are still trying to do our version of what we think is valuable. In the world today, things are changing so rapidly that most older people, in fact most people of any age, don't really have any idea what's happening. And none of us are certain, really, in terms of what makes a contribution and what's a pain in the neck. So I think that we just have to do the best we can to be of value. And to me, that means asking people what they want. It means looking and seeing what's needed and wanted and doing your best to provide that. So I don't know exactly what my contribution will be, but I'm intending to spend the rest of my life doing my best to contribute whatever's appropriate and whatever's necessary and whatever's needed every day of my life.
So as you took on eldering yourself in your life, did you notice any difference in how people related to you?
Well, I mean, first of all, I would have to tell you that I didn't take on eldering. I just got older. And what I realized is I got older, and as I am getting older, that I have some choices. So I didn't buy into the notion that getting older means stop working, that getting older means playing golf, that getting older means slowing down, that getting older means telling people what they should do and what they know and trying to be the smartest man in the room. You know, what I learned is that growing older, frankly, is no different than any other time in my life. And that really and truly, I didn't have to take on anything. I just had to not buy into anything. So rather than taking something on, I would say more than likely what I did is I didn't take something on. I didn't take on the cultural story and the cultural baggage about what it means to get older. Okay, I didn't take on people talking louder when I'm in the room. You know, I didn't take on necessarily even needing all the little senior discounts, although occasionally I do enjoy them. You know, I simply accept that I am a human being, and I'm living my life as fully as I know how to live it day to day. And that what's changed as I've gotten older is that I've grown to appreciate that the process of living has got less to do with the future than it does with the present. And I'm no longer afraid to get older. I'm no longer afraid to live. I'm no longer afraid to take risks. that if I've lost something in eldering, what I've lost is fear. And what I've gained is the willingness to be myself, the willingness to be a fool or to be foolish or to ask silly questions. That in the process of getting older, I've actually discovered perhaps what I was looking for all along, which is myself and my relationship with people, and the permission to care, and the willingness to be as authentic as I know how I can be.
Wonderful. Thanks.
You're welcome.